So I thought it would be fun to make the Addams Family house from the television show in the 1960s in The Sims, and I had a lot of fun doing the vineyard build, so I was like, okay, let me challenge myself and make a build from scratch, because I normally am the type of person to download something from a gallery and then just remake the inside to fit what I'm doing, because I am not a great builder of structures. I feel like I can decorate well in The Sims, but building a house from scratch is really fucking hard, especially fucking with the terrain tool is oh my god, you're gonna see me struggle so much. But that's mostly because I actually ended up choosing an inspiration photo that was of the Bates Motel from Psycho, and I don't know how I didn't realize that, but yeah, so that's what I ended up building, and I didn't realize for 2 hours. But by the time I get to the interior, I'm like, oh, wait a second. And so then I ended up getting inspiration photos for the interior from both the movie and also the show Bates Motel. But anyways, this was a really long build. It took me 7 hours that I did over the course of 2 to 3 days. So this speed build is actually 14 and a half minutes, which I think is a little too long for my taste. Maybe if it were a YouTube video or something like that could be fine, but because I'm putting it on my Sims Instagram for my loyal 9 followers, I split it up into 2. So there's 2 chunks that are each 7-ish minutes, 7.5 minutes. So yeah, the terrain here and the roofing are both really tough tools that I have always taken for granted because I download off the gallery, and I always hear other Sims builders complaining about these tools and how finicky they are and how tough they are to work with, and I'm like, oh, shut up, it can't be that hard. It is that hard, bitch. It really is that fucking hard. But I found this trick that I thought was perfect for the roof to make it look like that square in the middle. It's actually 4 roof pieces. So thank you, YouTube, for that one. Also, another trick that I have used in the past previously, but I thought worked the best I've ever seen it work in this build, was having columns on the edge of each corner, and it really broke up the house because it's tall. It's like a 3-floor house, and I rarely do that. I rarely even use houses or download houses that are that large. I feel the columns really break up the crusty, dusty wooden paneling that I used because I wanted to make it old and decrepit looking. So the panels were great for that. They also added a little gothic flair because of this black accent. So yeah, that was great. The stairs were tough because I had to make so many layers in the terrain. I needed 4 layers in the terrain to get the staircase with the path that sort of curves around the mountain. Not around the mountain, but curves up to the mountain. The trees here, the landscaping, was also something that I really sort of struggled with in the planning of it, because how do you landscape on a mountain in the game? How do you do that? It needs to go somewhere flat, so I had to make these sort of flat patches where I could put the landscaping and the bushes and the trees and stuff on. The other thing is that the Bates Motel in the film actually is in California, but I thought that palm trees in California looking shit wouldn't look that spooky, although it works in the context of the film and the show. So I decided to go with more trees that you would see not in such a warm climate, and I eventually moved this build because I'm building it in Willow Creek right now. I move it to Copperdale because it's a really beautiful lot that's in the woods, and I was that's perfect. So here I'm building the inside of the motel. This actually in the movie and the show, it's a motel that's on the bottom of the mountain, and this home is where Norman Bates lives on the top of the mountain, and I was I don't have enough room on this lot to do all of that shit, so I'm actually gonna make it a bed and breakfast. It's gonna be the Bates bed and breakfast, and people are gonna come and visit, and they're gonna stay in the home. I was that is the perfect solution to this problem. So my inspiration photo for this particular one, I believe, is from the show, and so I'm trying to do this exact replication of, is that even a word? An exact replica of the picture, and And I really love using arches to like break up rooms on like this little step down. Like it's these little details that like make the build feel a little more livable and lived in and like possibly real, instead of just like a box with like stairs in it, or like a box with like, you know, like square rooms I feel like can get really like claustrophobic feeling in The Sims specifically. So to break it up with arches and like columns, and like, you know, you get more of a flow because you can like sort of roam from room to room without like opening the doors, and you sort of like can see through them. That's something that I end up using upstairs as well. Like I wanted the hallway to feel longer and feel like you're looking through like these like passageways, and like to feel it like make it feel more like mysterious and complex. So I was really struggling to like make that happen in this build because it actually feels really small when you are putting so many bedrooms, because I ended up making this like a bed and breakfast. You need multiple bedrooms. So okay, it'd be cool to do these colorful colorful rooms. So I have like a red room, a blue room, a green room, a yellow room. And I found these beds that seem to be like almost exactly the same beds as were in the television show. It's like, okay, that's perfect. We have these like long bedboards, wooden bedboards, and the colors all match everything. So yeah, I thought the rooms are pretty simple, but you know, who cares about the rooms? Like, I'm more interested in like the common areas, like the bedrooms, like whatever. You see, like in all my builds, I reach a point where I get like super lazy. So here I'm in the bathroom, and I was gonna do a bath, but then I was like, bitch, I gotta do a shower. I have to do a shower. It's a psycho build. I have to do a shower. So I found these are actually window curtains for windows that I had to like put a wall to attach them to, and then delete the wall so they could stay floating sort of like in the middle of the room to look like shower curtains. So I decided that this build would actually be pretty fun to like actually play with in my game. So I decided to make a sort of like simmy version of Psycho that I'm gonna play out. But instead of Norman, it's gonna be a girl sim, because girl sims are more fun. And instead of being obsessed with her mother, maybe she'll be obsessed with her dead lover. And she's also gonna be a cannibal, because there's a cannibal mod that I really want to test out and play with. So I couldn't really like find a way to access the basement because the ground floor is so packed. So I decided that instead of having like a creepy basement, there's going to be a creepy attic, like another floor that maybe would be like girl Norman's ex-lover or dead lover's old room. Maybe that dead lover ran the bed and breakfast, and like, you know, whatever. Sort of very on par with the film. So you'll see the attic later. Here I'm building like the guest check-in area. So I found this like beautiful apothecary sort of like storage thing that's CC, and I put all these keys in it. So it's like very hotel-y. So you could like get a key to your room or whatever. The space, like the position of this room in the actual like build itself is a little odd because you have to like walk down the hall to get your key to get your room, but whatever. Here I put a lot of like birds, like taxidermy birds and skulls and stuff. Again, like an homage to the film. Here's the kitchen. The kitchen, it's such an awkward space. All of these narrow, awkward spaces were like quite a challenge for me, but I think I did a pretty good job. So I felt like this build needed more like anxiety-inducing decor, if that makes sense. Like overwhelming like patterns that like hurt your eyes, like make you uncomfortable. So eventually yes, here we go. I changed it to this like, that would give me a headache if I was in there cooking for like a while, you know? But then you have this like old-timey lamp and the old-timey like kitchen appliances. Here I'm trying to find like a way to like cover that wall, like, you know, have some way to break it up because the pattern is a lot. Here, you see I add all of these like distressed wallpaper decals that look like the paneling underneath. I thought that was a really nice touch. That comes from Vampires, like the Vampire Pack, I believe. Here I'm trying to build an extension to make another floor, and this was also inspired by a photo I found online. So you can like look through the hall and see this like winding staircase. I thought was also another way to like add this mystery to it. Here I'm like watching a video to like find out how to like paint platforms, and like I couldn't really figure it out in the end. Anyways, here I had to like redo the whole roofing, which was like something that took me so long before, so it was sort of like really frustrating that I had to do that, but I think it worked out in the end. I think it all still looked quite consistent. And I learned the tricks that I used for the first round of making the roof, and I was able to sort of like build around my extension that I built on the 3rd floor. But it feels much bigger now. I was having trouble with the windows. I didn't know what to do with the windows, and I think I sort of like went with way smaller and less windows. So here, this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm breaking it up to make the bedroom for the dead lover, which is where Lady Norman would live, you know, while she's running the bed and breakfast. So again, I went with this like overwhelming wallpaper and this like blue theme because like she's grieving too, you know. And I found this like armoire thing and like the little vanity, and like I felt like it was sort of perfect, like very old timey. I went with a lot of like paintings. Like it's supposed to feel like very lived in, like, you know, this bed and breakfast has been around for generations, you know, generations of fucking cannibals, but still generations. Then I really loved this. I downloaded firstly the first version of this Cannibal mod, and I was like, those are so many little like prop things, decor things, but like they don't really fit the vibe. They're very medical. So I ended up like uninstalling this mod and installing a new mod that had no sort of like necessary decor to use. So here I'm sort of like trying to recreate the basement from Psycho, but like in the attic. So I decided that I was gonna make this like laundry room with all this like bleach and like detergent and stuff that would help sort of clean up the messes, but also like this would, you know, practically like in the game like actually function as a laundry room as well. So you have the rocking chair there, like again an homage to the movie. The shelving also was like pulled right from the movie. The blood stains on the floor. Like I thought that this was like the most not accurate, but like the biggest nod. I thought was that room definitely. But it was still sort of like updated to fit the needs of the build itself. So here I'm building these stairs to get down because I wanted to build a shed, because the back I felt like was a little empty. So I just downloaded a shed off the gallery because, see, this is me and the gallery, we're best friends. So again, I sort of like repainted the shed to like fit the actual build. Here I'm working, see, my landscaping is getting a little better. Like I used to be so bad at this, I'm still pretty bad, but you know, I tried my best. So yeah, so I also redid the terrain paint on the steps, like on the path between the steps. Here's the build, it's so pretty. I'm gonna take you on a little tour now. You can see it in first person, like as if you're visiting the motel yourself. The bed and breakfast, as if you're visiting it yourself. Walking in beautiful, beautiful living area with the birds and the piano, kitchen. Oh my god, wow, lovely, lovely. A little recipe book. Oh, it looks so nice. Now we're going to, let's check in. Oh, all these dead birds, suspicious. Let me get a key. Cute. Oh, they're so beautiful. Wow. Moving upstairs. So many paintings. So many people used to live here. My goodness. Here's the blue room. Wow. Here's the red room. Wow. A little chest. Sure. Why not? A little yellow room. Now we're moving on and we're gonna go to the bathroom. Now we're going upstairs. Suspicious. Okay, here's the bedroom. The dead lover's bedroom. See how the camera was glitching so much at this point. Like I really was struggling because everything's so tight. Here is the laundry / murder room. Wow. And there's the build. Hope you enjoyed.